What is love? Why is love? So much has been written about love, sung about it. Most of us have a sense of what we think love is. Our common belief is that love is an emotion or feeling of desire, a strong sense of care and concern about someone or something. Hi, Mark Gilbert here, and I want to talk about love and maybe just expand your thinking about it a bit, to put it in a spiritual evolutionary light. So let's get to it. What is love? You know, love is one of those topics that you can point at with your words, but your words are not it. You have to feel it. We've all felt it. There is this welling up inside you where you have an overwhelming sense of emotion that comes from some indescribable place, both from within you and outside of you. And it fills your being with a sense of care and concern, compassion and connectedness to something or someone beyond you. Just take a moment and recall a situation in your life when you had an overwhelming sense of love. Step into that feeling for a moment. Did my words come close to pointing at it, but not quite capture it? I know for me there are those gentle, tender moments where my heart is open and there's this general sense of love for everything and everyone. And then I also have those moments where there's a specific external something that's the focus of an overwhelming outpouring of emotional love. For instance, I sense this deep, deep love for my wife, Mary. And I can still recall the overpowering sense of love that filled my very being when my children and my grandchildren were born. I know that my beautiful chocolate lab, Harmony, who passed away in 2017, could so easily invoke this strong emotional response. My current puppy, Penny, can do the same. This sense of love can come up at any time and any place. I know there are moments in nature where something such as a beautiful sunrise can touch me so deeply that it ignites a fire of generalized love of life in that moment. Again, all I can do is describe the moments. I know that you truly have to feel it to know it. And I know you do feel it. So that leads us to the question, why is love? You know, evolutionary scientists tell us that love is an emergent property that came forth in the evolution of species, especially where young were born not fully mature. The emergence of love was seen as simply an adaptation that was favorable to such species that were growing larger and more complex. Those who developed a powerful emotional attachment to their young took better care of them, allowed more of them to grow to maturity, to reproduce, and to pass on more of their genes. In addition, love served an evolutionary purpose in binding together a male and female for long periods of time in many species. Such love kept them together to raise their vulnerable young, again increasing the odds of their babies reaching maturity to reproduce. You know, this all makes great sense, and I believe that these scientists are correct in that love is an evolutionary force. However, I think they only have part of the story. For me, the question then arises, how did this emotional feeling of love get so diffused that our hearts are opened by so many people, so many things, so many moments? So much of my sense of love has no connection to any mates or babies. You know, for many mystics and philosophers, and in the belief that I'm offering here in this video, the powerful feeling of love is an important component in serving the further evolution of humanity, where we are going in the future. You know, many believe that just like consciousness, love is a basic essence contained in everything. It is some force that binds us and calls us to expand beyond ourselves, and that it can be found in minerals and plants and animals, and in the energy and forces of the universe. Love is contained in the ground of all being. And love is a powerful evolutionary force that calls us to feel a sense of connectedness to something beyond us. The feeling of love may have initiated within us to connect us with those essential people in our lives, our parents when we were young, and then later with our mates and our children. But as we age and grow, love continues to connect us to larger and larger circles outside us. You see, our minds and thoughts convince us that we're these little pockets of consciousness walking around independent of everyone else and everything. The emotion of love calls us to remember the truth, that we're connected to everyone and everything. Our heads may try to tell us that we're separate. Our hearts tell us that we're one. I'll say more on this in a later video when we look at love from Maslow's needs levels and explore the concept of eros and agape. However, right now, what I'm suggesting is that we're at a critical point in the evolution of humanity. We're shifting from seeing ourselves as separate from each other and moving into a new awareness that understands both our uniqueness and how our uniqueness feeds and nourishes a greater whole. Evolution is full of milestones, where some entity had to simultaneously maintain its sense of self, its agency, while also letting go of a part of itself to be a part of something greater, to be in communion with a greater whole. Atoms had to maintain being an atom while becoming part of a molecule. Molecules had to maintain their sense of being a molecule while becoming part of a cell. And consider how in our evolutionary past our cells differentiated themselves into performing unique functions while supporting in the growth and evolution of the whole greater physical body. In plants, animals, and us, this process of maintaining our sense of individuality while becoming part of something greater is a key part of evolutionary leaps. And now our evolution is in our consciousness, and we're beginning to shift in our understanding of how individual consciousness supports the growth and evolution of our collective consciousness of the one humanity. Love is a force that's supporting that leap to the next level. As mystic Ernest Holmes put it, evolution is the awakening of the soul to a recognition of its unity with the whole. He frequently reminded us that love points the way forward to where we're called. French philosopher and Jesuit priest and paleontologist Teilhard de Chardin put it this way: love is a sacred reserve of energy. It's like the blood of spiritual evolution. So what is love? Yes, it's that eros-type love, romantic, emotional feeling in those magical moments. And it's that agape, selfless love of service and connection. It's a divine essence that's contained in the ground of every molecule, every cell, everything, everywhere. It's a power that pulls us to greater and greater degrees of connectedness. It's a power that's pulling us to the truth of our being, our spiritual unity.